We're back now. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience while we were figuring life out. You know what? OBS is go OBS, and that's fine. We're gonna just roll with it. It's great. So, welcome back and welcome in. As a heads up for content warnings, real quick, we are kind of exploring some complex and complicated relationships with Ampistrano. Possibly some, ferrying of souls and battling some supernatural beings. So, just be mindful, be aware, because that may not be your deal, and that's totally okay. But we want you to be safe here at the Vale and at the, that's not what actually I was supposed to say, at the Haven, but we appreciate you and wanting to hang out. If you want to see more of Ampistrano, we'll be live next week with Sin's pre-recorded episode. So we'll get to see what's going on with Blackstone and all the stuff there. So, but yeah. All right. I think we're somewhat back. Things got a little bit weird during the break. It's fine. We're going to just roll with it as we do. And Mats, are you ready to get back into it? Okay.
Yes.
So we pick up with Keeper Reyna holding both hands out in front of both you and Daria as she is asked this question about who would be the best representative for this mission, for not only the Vale, but for the other pantheons in a way too. Why don't you roll an insight check for me, please?
Ooh,
I believe in you.
it has a +8, so I better be good. That's a 15 total.
Oh, heck yes. Incredible. Okay. With a 15, you're getting a couple different energies coming in. You're getting the sereneness from Keeper Reyna as she's talking. Completely, honestly, level. She doesn't seem to be swayed one way or the other in terms of who is going to be the candidate. But from Daria, for the briefest of moments, you get something from her that you don't normally get. Insecurity. A little bite of anger. And an unsureness in her position. It's how she's holding herself. Normally she's very straight-backed, shoulders back, tall, even in her very small kind of stature. But it's very slight. You can see she's slouching slightly, almost afraid of what's about to happen. And within a few moments, as all the quiet of this room, save for the veil, which every now and then gives a glimmer of almost like bells, from the hand that's right out in front of you, her right hand, it almost looks like gold coins starting to fill as that same energy, and you see the tether from the veil, again, constant, holding her hand. But you can actually see it this time. She's always connected with the veil itself. To be a keeper in her position, you're not voted in. This isn't like a democracy left up to the temple itself. The veil chooses. There is a whole ceremony where you put your life on the line, and the veil either chooses you to be that next keeper or keeps you instead. You see that tether, and there is nothing in her left hand. And Reyna kind of eyes Daria for a moment, almost waiting, then looks back to the veil itself and nods. and turns her back on Daria to look at you. Well, Our Lady has chosen. Whether you're ready for this task or not, you have to be ready.
Tears are welling up in Ostani's eyes, and they're looking at Reyna and then Daria, but they have not looked at their hand, so they're slowly looking down to their hand, and what do they see?
You see a flicker for a moment, and it looks almost like your little pet that you have. Like the image of their face pops up for a moment. A single silver feather in your hand. Fledgling. Possibility. Opportunity. And it feels, even though it's a feather, there's a weight to it. As you're kind of realizing, there's a heaviness to it. And your hand kind of gives slightly as like Arena kind of moves, presumably her support. You still see now this almost connecting thread from the feather to her to the veil. But very, very glimmering, almost like a spider web in the sun after the rain, as kind of raindrops are kind of moving about it. You can see ever so slightly is this thread that now connects you even more directly to the veil itself. Daria is in shadow, but you can kind of see her eyes trying to see all of this, and you realize she can't. She does not see it. Because she's just looking confused. And like a flicker of pain kind of crosses her eyes. And then the mask kind of flits back on, and she kind of seems to be having some kind of inner monologue. She's not looking at you with hatred. But she is, for the briefest flicker of a moment, she looks pissed. Like, she looks pissed, not at you. At Keeper Reyna. It's just in her eyes. There's constant. But luckily, Keeper Reyna has her back and does not see it. But you see it in full display.
I feel like this is commonplace in a space, an area where there is choices left to the divine. So whatever feelings that Ostani is feeling of like undeserving, or whatever thoughts of like, are you sure, they swallow it all whole in one blink and a gulp, and they softly cover the feather around them and holster it like to their chest. I accept.
And you see again just Daria, but she is shadow. And she kind of steps further back as Keeper Reyna nods. Then, the soul of this quest is yours. You see a look of proudness kind of flash across her face. Well then, you will be meeting with Commander Tynil tomorrow with the representatives. I believe he's sending a missive, although with Tynil, you never quite know what he's going to do. And she says that with a bit of a smile on her face. Represent yourself well. And she kind of bows her head. And know that you can always ask my counsel.
They do this smallest of bow, even like their front legs lowering just a bit, even to Daria for their time, and still with their heart to their chest. Thank you, Keeper Reyna.
Don't thank me. The Veil decided. But I have ever faith. And she kind of nods. Now, I think you are all set. You know where Commander Tynil's office is. I don't need to tell you where. But, and she, at this point, she pulls from her kind of vestments. This looks like it's a small compass. Again, similar to the entire motif of this temple, it's a sun and moon shape, with the pointer always pointing north. Think of this as not only the symbol to Tynil that you have been chosen, but for when those moments ahead, when you find yourself unsure, when you find yourself lost. And at that point, you hear Daria's steps disappearing down the hallway. Just click, 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 click against the stone floor before the door shuts, and then she remembers, and then she opens it up partially. It's that awkward moment of, oh crap, the door needs to be open, and just disappears. Ibarena kind of smiles for a moment. Well, we're all entitled to humility. And then her eyes meet yours again. And she kind of just gives a smile of, is there anything else that you need counsel with?
No, they had slowly stepped away, and was already kind of directing towards their next path.
Okay.
So they just they shake their head and do a little wave. As they exit out, whether it's through a doorway, where there's like a physical.
You're right on the staircase. Are you ascending back up into the temple proper, or are you going to descend to where the other quarters are? She's kind of the bridge between where the dormitories are, for instance.
Yeah, they will go to the dormitories.
Okay. So you descend, and she watches you. And you kind of see her playing with the veil every so often, like having a moment of just like playfulness, allowing herself that.
The waiting till the staircase and the space gives them just a little bit of hidden, anonymity. They just will open their hand again, and to the river, the veil, like in there, they're just having their moment with that too. It's just a soft little prayer of like, Our Lady, I hope your trust in me is... No, I will not question it. And they're just like reveling in this of like, I will make you proud. And they'll go towards their quarters, like holding it a little high.
Yeah. For a moment, when you open your hand up, it's just a silver, almost like a chain. And then it fans out slowly. Kind of like a flower in the wind. As soon as you walk into your dormitory, there's little... Well, why don't you go ahead and describe your lovely little pet, who is now kind of not even on the floor, is whizzing about the room flying right now.
It is Could I say what it's based on?
Go for it, of course.
The wonderful Fluffy Folio's Winter's Whelp, if you've seen it, y'all, is a beautiful, very small little white puppy, like baby wolf with little horns and iridescent fur, going down to a fluffy, like swirls of almost clouds for a tail. And their eyes shimmer like the aurora borealis, and even their fur has those colors of the green, the blue of the aurora. Sokali. So they're just like, Soka, stay. I know I am late to feed you, but 1 second. Hold on, 1 second. They have this. They have all the features of a very excitable pup, but I feel like the neediness and the you haven't fed me yet. What are you doing? Yeah. Humanoid. I am clearly the main character here.
Is knocking
of, like, a wonderful cat.
Yeah, is knocking over things as they're kind of like a bouncing ball just flying across the different rooms. Every now and then just starts growling you see they have a plethora of toys kind of around the floor that look like little orbs, because they help you work. They help you with finding these souls. So there's almost like these little orb plushies, which are animated and also bounce around the room, because it's one of those like, hey, it's one of those laser pointers that helps cats like go play, but it's a little thing to kind of help keep them occupied. And so like you see this kind of bright red kind of orb for a moment, almost like a solar system in itself, floating up and then starts bouncing. So it's like plethora of colors as this kind of happening. You hear the familiar like banging on the wall of your like a doormate maybe on the opposite side of the wall being like, Ostani, please, I just laid down a nap.
Apologies, 1 second, just give Sokali. If I will return all of these toys immediately. I wouldn't, but come here. And they like pick them up, and like I feel like how liquid a cat can get. Or like they're just
yeah.
like, just quiet, hold on, just 1 second, and
it's just flailing in your arms, like it's just
hey, look, food, and then they'll get a treat to just get them to
stops
quiet down.
Immediately.
Yes, good. All right, with one hand holding on their chest with the treat to entice them, they're filling up their food bowl with food.
He's just staring at it like it's the Holy Grail. It's just like,
okay. Wonderful. Hide the treat inside the food and then put it down to eat. And they're going to get to their couch and just collapse as everything is quiet now, right?
Minus just the munching noises. And like,
that's okay.
Ow, ow, ow. Like it's just very happy puppy noises of like I'm eating and I'm my human is home. It's just that kind of thing. But yes, you are minus any music you might have playing. Why don't you describe your dormitory real quick?
Yes, I feel like they would have more of greenery and a windows that can trace the night sky a lot more. There is a large I'm thinking of a
You're good.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of the name of the fabric or the style. Even though they stand at 7 to 8 feet tall, there are curtains, linen from like the ceiling down that drape.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's like almost shimmery fabric, so when the sun does come in, it does cast like a little glow on the floor. At the corner of this room, on the bed, there's like these hanging little lanterns, little jeweled constellations from like in between the linen curtains. There are round, long cushions. It is meant for a centaur to spread out, and if there is a wonderful night, even lay fully down and not be uncomfortable. And to the corner of the dormitory, there is a telescope
Mm-hmm.
with numerous dials, a selection of lenses, colored lenses, and even a sketching corner and paper almost strewn about now because Sakali was running around, but of constellations just marking the different time periods, making new constellations. That is something that Ostani likes to do.
Yeah.
Whatever constellations that is known, they would try to map new ones and name it their own, or try and find if there are different names for different constellations. They enjoy doing that over and over, as if the night sky is a constant piece of graph paper that they can make new sketches on. And they have music playing, but not right now. There are motifs of their family and the sun and moon of the lady, and like a panel with that coming through. So as they're coming like to dress behind it, they'll like put whatever clothing that they need to change into for the sunset ceremonies. And it's, if you've seen like Arabic or that kind of style of like temples where the lights come in through the cuts in the woodwork, that's what's coming onto the bed. So once Sakali is done, they have changed, come out, and played a small what was the instrument that was connected to Ostani? I'm trying to remember.
I just remember fairs because I know it was said as a joke first, and then it was like, no, that actually makes sense. That's the one I keep remembering.
It would be to a specific instrument, and they would set the lantern colors to kind of match it, to be a little dim. The sunset ceremonies are happening, so they're in that mood today.
And you do have a stained glass window as well. You have that window. There's an outcropping for your telescope to pop in and out every so often. But as you had entered the room, and I think now it picking up that you're wanting to relax, it shifted. The stained glass. It shifts. It changed from what was kind of more of your lovely little pet style, which is they're much more awake at night and in the evening. So there were motifs of the moon shining over the harbor, for instance, to now. What is Ostani's favorite season?
I do feel like it is the like midwinter.
Okay. You see it shifting, not only in colors, but the scene that's being shown. You see instead the fields in the farming district outside of Jorix, where your family is from. And you see the large walls in the distance of Jorix kind of painted with the stained glass. And slowly, every so often, the panes of the stained glass seem to flicker as it seems like snow is falling upon this very serene scene. Indeed, a scene you're gonna probably see in probably about 6 weeks. So, like, because you're almost at the equinox, almost before winter is about to come in at that time. And you see several figures which you would know to be kind of your family moving about, doing their chores on a winter afternoon, trying to give you some kind of sense of peace, relaxation, taking you out of the dorms, out of the scene that you were just in as this heavy responsibility, a feather of opportunity was given to you.
It marks to Ostani as like a pinpoint to start. This is where I come back to, but it is a reminder of where I need to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good reminder. It's like a point to return to.
Sure.
And that in itself is just enough to give them energy to uphold that responsibility. And there, possibly on that stained glass, there is something like hidden in the corner that they're not letting them see.
Sure.
And it is for the one who is missing. And they do not let them see because, not that it is not heavy, it is definitely heavy. It's just, they are one of the few that are have disappeared and missing. And to them, to Ostani, their disappearance felt like a choice to leave. And that was the only thing that was stopping them from correcting the keeper. Because if there is that relationship, that means that there is information, clues that they could pull on and follow. But that is one thing that Ostani is remembering. Their choice to walk away from the veil, or to be not against the veil, but walk their own path that feels so much like against what they've been taught.
Yeah.
So they just flick their eyes to it, remember them, like as if it's like a echo of a laugh, of a friend's laugh near you, or hearing them in the hall call out their name to come out, but not knowing it, like knowing it's not real. And then sunset ceremonies and the commander's room. Yes, we have a full night. We should go, right? Well, you should stay. Looking down at Silka.
Like, look at you hopeful, and then as soon as you say that, the ears drop. Looking sad.
Well, if you can be quiet, I can carry you. Can we?
Sits at attention. Holds their little head. Gets up on their little hind. If they had hind legs, like they're sitting kind of back, they're trying so hard.
Okay. They open up their like little bag, like that's on the sides of them. They're just like, remember, extra treats if you're quiet. That we're work in progress here. Slip them in.
They immediately burrow into your side. You can hear after like a couple of minutes, I'm assuming you're kind of leaving the room, that you feel the kind of kneading as they're almost making biscuits against you, very puppy / kitten like, and then snoring. It's very soft, but they are snoring very so slightly. You're attuned to it. You know you could probably get away with it as long as no one is maybe standing a little too close to you. Like you'll be fine. So you'll be doing okay.
Yep.
All right. We'll speed up through time as the rest of the afternoon kind of progresses. And now we approach sunset. Keeper Reyna, as well as Watcher Daria, appear in the main hall of the temple. And you can see it's pretty full at this time. The sunset ceremony is usually pretty attended with the people of Jorix. And you see a wide variety. There's changelings, there's tieflings, there's several humans, there's dwarves. It's basically a plethora of people that are in here. And you see that most of them also support other gods. It's not just one. This is not that kind of space where it's one god and that's it. No, there's usually a smattering. And you all see several of them, as some also have dawnings of black, which means typically that they're in mourning of some kind. Likely they lost someone either today or within the last month. There's typically a time of mourning before they transition to a more neutral, before going back to regular society kind of colored clothing, to kind of mark that. So you do notice every now and then there is a smattering. And the sunset ceremony goes without a hitch. Keeper Reyna welcomes in the veil and the time of the veil. The thread you see. And it seems like Reyna is maybe trying to keep a closer eye on it too. Flickers again, ever so slightly. Instead of a teal, this is more of like a darker blue. And it's not just the color that changes just for a flicker of a second. This one looks like it's almost splintered, like wood. And then it phases back. But otherwise, the ceremony, it's nothing to really write home about. It's just a typical thank you all for attending, giving blessings, thanking the veil for watching over, celebrating those that have passed and are moving on, etc. Getting ready those who are getting ready to do that transition. So you do see several watchers are getting pulled aside, as like some are seeking counsel with questions or wondering what they need to do. You overhear a couple conversations that have a similar couple of threads of people that are wondering if the Lady of the Veil will be able to help with the shortages on crops and be able to solve some of those issues, to what's been going on in the dock district with the fact that many ships have just not been able to come in. To some people also talking about people missing. You hear this more so from the people that are not as finely dressed. But interestingly enough, and I'm not going to have you roll like a history check or anything, you don't see that in the newspaper. You don't hear that in the town crier talking about it as much. They're still talking about the several nobles' children who have gone missing. There's not as much coverage, but there are more missing of the common folk. Just something to be aware.
Under the veil, and those who need that guidance, they all will share the same plane or what their beliefs are. So to Ostani, they're all deserving of that attention.
The rest of the kind of afternoon, evening happen before it is starting to shift to now your responsibility as you are. It typically switches between you and Daria, but this is one of your nights to do the ceremony in the morning to welcome the new day, and what is essentially not close the veil, but to mark that passage as the kind of attention. The sun shifts to a different pantheon, so to speak. You're the closing. The keeper always opens. One of the watchers always closes. That's why you are watchers. You are there at night and also during the day to keep an eye out for the wayward souls that may be struggling at times and finding some difficulty, sent on different missions, such as the one that you and your partner were on to figure out what was going on in the graveyard district, to just making those home visits when someone does pass away. That's why you're the watchers. Always keeping an eye out. The fledglings keep an eye on during the day, for the most part. But the Watchers always have eyes on Jorix. And the rest of the evening goes without issue. At some point, Keeper Reyna kind of nods at you as you are going to do the kind of transition ceremony, as she gives you this kind of long looking, almost looks like a glaive. Intricate in design, a deep pale like gray. And in the very center of it, where the blade is too, there's a small gem of gold that's surrounded by amethyst. And she kind of nods at you and kind of motions to walk towards, again, where this large golden thread is kind of separating the two pillars. As the sun, you can slowly see, even though it's rising in the opposite direction, you can start to see the light sky starting to shift, as dawn is approaching. And she kind of eyes you for a moment. So, how are you feeling?
As in every other sunrise, strong.
Good.
If there are any other spirits, souls that need that tending, Ostani had like ushered them, like, go now, it's okay. Like, they're just being that voice. If they're looking for a space to go here, like, they're just doing that. And even humming a song underneath to get all the other Watchers together. So when all that quelled down, their hair, everything is still, like, nothing is standing up raised and tense. This is strong.
And you do see, as you've been doing this, the kind of small orbs that have been kind of ever so often floating, which you know to be a person's soul, slowly, and listening to your song and listening to your guidance, as well as the other Watchers, slowly going towards where that thread is, and then following the well down into that pool as they followed your song. And you kind of see that Keeper Reyna is very, very proud. And she slowly hands you the kind of glade as you are about to usher in the dawn. But at that moment, several things happen. At that moment, you hear running. And that golden thread splinters, turning into a deep, dark blue, fragments. And it almost looks like the veil itself is tearing. You can hear people are starting to panic, to worry as they are running around. As from this, you can see that there is a long arm starting to come through the veil itself. A being that is just smatterings of almost this ink color, black, tall, slowly stepping its way onto the stone floor where you and Keeper Reyna are. It's got a long, almost mantle that leans back, eyes just straight teal, and a symbol on their forehead that looks circular in nature, a large S that's bisected by thorns. And it gives a roar as I need you to roll initiative.
The moment it comes down, Ostani is clutching Sakali, like, close, pulling from, like, where their mace is, and their entire skin is now like covering in these black runes that come all the way, like script being written. And their first thing as they're looking around and seeing everyone runs, everyone, not knowing they're hearing because they're afraid, immediately, watchers, to your watch, like everyone to like position themselves.
You see several people, interestingly enough, do not see this creature. The regular common folk have no idea. They can see that the something has happened because you all are panicking and the floor has shook, but they don't see it. But you can see the watchers all moving into action. You see several of the fledglings are quickly trying to usher some of the more common folks, the townspeople, out the door now. You see several of the watchers are now moving around as the staircase also continues into this room. Several of them are, going down into the very depths of where this well is, where that is where the rift largely comes from. That well that has a symbol where all the watchers then can stand by and try to heal this thing. You see several of them moving around, panicked. Everyone has teams working with them. You have your team by you as several of them are now ready to face this thing off. Several of the monks are also moving around trying to get ready, looking out as well for other activity that might be happening. What did you roll in initiative?
I'm just gonna flavor this one last thing as
Go
their
for it.
initiative. Their mace is on their back, like legs, so they like dangling from like a hook. So they kick up their back legs, and as the mace kind of spins back, that's when they clutch it with initiative 19.
Oh, that's so good. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Amazing. All right. Raina's initiative is locked in. What is yours?
19.
19. Nice. All right, you're actually up first. This thing is towering over you. This thing, you can see, is not fully stepped out. It's still partially within the veil. Ink, as it kind of drips onto the floor, almost seems to corrode the stone away. As you are now facing this thing as it looms above you. Head kind of lowering. What do you do?
There's two things I can do, but I need information. So the first thing for their action, they're going to use one of their channel divinity straight at the creature.
Let's go.
With the runes kind of covering their face, like script and ink, they just put two fingers out and like as if they're guiding their light back to the veil, as it's like signing it back, path to the grave. So within until the end of my next turn, whether me or an ally hits this cursed creature with an attack, that creature has vulnerability to all of that attack's damage, and then the curse ends.
Love it.
Let's see. For who is next in initiative with that?
Raina is next, and then the creature.
Are they, from what I've known of them, are they melee close up?
They can do both. They're a mix.
What is it that I've known that they are like a good at?
They have a very
what kind of damage?
They do largely a mix of piercing and bludgeoning. They have this chain that you see that she has pulled out and has kind of wrapped around both hands. And at the end is what appears to be a small spike. And as she's kind of maneuvering it around, it fluctuates. It changes to a quarterstaff. It keeps shifting as she's kind of eyeing this creature of what she might need to do and seeing that she's going to probably need to wrangle this thing. The chains are out and ready to go, and she's kind of almost like jump roping the chain out further to kind of try and maybe wrap around its head. You can see the thought kind of formulating in her head, having worked with her as long as you have.
Yeah, seeing that Ostani kind of raises their front legs almost to ready a charge, but instead they're kind of using that as like, look at me to the creature, but we'll do adjust position and get Raina close to like this like to flank them. So I can adjust them. Let's see. How close is the creature?
It's pretty close. You're within 10 feet of it, so.
Great. So 5 feet closer, but let's see. Bodily through intervening space, so there can be no physical obstacle. Yeah, they're just adjusting their position as like a team would, to be like, you would do best here.
Yeah, easily can do that. Incredible. Anything else you wish to do?
Nope, that will be their turn.
All right. Raina, kind of seeing what you're doing, kind of nods like a thank you as she is going to use one of her abilities, which is, first she's going to cast Spiritual Guardians, as she is having to kind of make a spiritual ceremony on the fly because she cannot get downstairs. So from her pouring out from her shadow, you see it oscillating, almost like these kind of steady glowing beams of light around her, as you see that these spiritual guardians are, you can see clearly, manifestations of who you know are people that she cares about. They are keeping her safe in this moment. And as they are kind of walking around her, you can see there's all of a sudden these kind of spiral etchings on the floor, and she's the very center of it. She's creating a spell binding to kind of ward this creature back. And with that, she leaps onto this thing's neck, which she does successfully. And the chain lax as she quickly wraps it around. And as she does, she pulls, and you can see what was once a smooth silver cuts. And for a moment, it almost looks like the creature's inky kind of head almost explodes outwards into ink. As with that, she placed several spirit bombs on her chain as that burst of energy. And you get, these are not just normal spirit bombs. These are parts of her essence. She has imbued essences of her soul into this weapon as they explode outwards, seemingly different portions. Everyone has a very distinct soul color. You see that these are different colors, so possibly different moments. A moment of anger as a red bursts out. A moment of sadness bursts out. All of that flickers. Things not looking amazing, but it's still rearing its ugly head. The rest of the watchers are kind of moving around. Keeper Raina is like, Daria, get downstairs. We need to make sure that at least the point of the well is safe. Next is the creature's turn. Yeah.
Did the spirit guardians, was it radiant or necrotic?
Mix of both. Great question. Mix of both.
So, okay. Knowing that it's mix of both, Ostani will yell out to the rest of the watchers, life and death, give it all. And that is like a charge to say, like, that is what they're vulnerable to until their next turn.
Love it. Incredible. I need you to make a spirit savings throw, please. Raina is too.
Yeah. That's a D20?
Yep, D20 plus your spirit, which savings for you is a 6.
It's a 6 plus 6 for a 12.
Okay. This thing, as these kind of spiritual bombs are kind of exploding, knocking its head back and forth, gives out a roar. What is a moment in Ostani's life that they have felt inferior?
Oh.
That you have doubted yourself.
Before they joined the Veil, and Let's see. They have worked with those who needed healing and could not. They didn't understand why they couldn't pull them away from the edge. Even if they had so much more to live for, they felt like as a healer, they couldn't do much more. That was it. And as a person who always gives, it just felt wrong. And so it was like there's no calling. So I think it was possibly at a very young age where the thing that they've set out to do as this is my life's goal, and they're doing a whole shift into another career.
Love it. Okay. In that moment, hang on 1 second. That's why. I was like, why am I hearing double? Sorry about that. In that moment, you're pulled back to that time when you are unsure of yourself, unsure of the possibilities ahead of you, unsure of what you are going to be able to do. And that causes you to pause, to be unsure of yourself. And a fear settles in. You will not be able to move closer to this creature as it has used a fear effect. And you will take 16 points of psychic damage from that. It is going to go forward and swipe as well. Reyna is still on its back. Does a 18 hit you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Big claw smashes into your side and kind of knocks you up against where the well is, that wall, giving you, that's going to be 20 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And that is it for its turn.
They are hurting.
Yee. Okay. We are back up at the top, and I believe it's you.
Let's see. They cannot go closer, correct?
Correct. I'm gonna act, and you feel sensing what's happening. And I'm sorry, can I get your pet's name again?
Sokali.
Sokali. You feel what it feels like, little licks through your cloth as Sokali is giving you 5 points of healing. Giving you the help action on that, but you're still able to use them if you have something else in mind, but they'll be able to at least give you that.
They will do there was something I was going to do and I clicked it and I clicked away. 1 second.
You're so good. Then it'll be Reyna's turn and then the creature's turn.
They're going to do, I believe this is an action, it is, do false life at third to get, because I don't know where this number is coming from, but it says 2d4 plus 14, and that I will take that. Thank you.
Love it.
Let's see. Oh, that's 20 points of temporary hit points, apparently.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm here for
Great. And looking to the creature, they're going to charge at them for their bonus.
You cannot move forward.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you're right. They've already done one spell, so they can't do another.
I'll flavor this while you think.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, the Watchers and the Fledglings have moved a lot of the kind of townspeople out who are still so confused what's happening. Clearly do not see this creature because they don't even see that line of where the veil is. So you can see a lot of them are trying to keep them back, like nothing is happening, you know, we're done for now, go home, party's over, etc.
Yeah.
And at this point, Reyna is kind of eyeing you, but every so often you see her eyes flittering back, almost like with a question to the side. And you realize she's looking off to her left. Daria's not there.
Mm-hmm. You know, jealousy really hurts everybody, you know? So, I'm kidding. There was something that I wanted to do when they got attacked, and I forgot that I had Warcaster.
Yes, you do.
Could I do that
Yes,
still?
of course you can.
Yeah. When they had hit them, it says I can, as a reaction, has a casting time of 1 action and targets only that creature. Where was it? Oh, I would love to do, yep, instantaneous targets that, yep, the 1 action blight back at that creature.
Love it.
Cool.
What does it look like?
As a reaction, do they have to do a con saving throw?
They do.
Okay.
Ooh, I rolled low. That's a 13 even with its bonus.
Not enough, I'm sorry.
Heck yes, let's go.
That is, I'm casting this at 4th level, so this is...
Oh, that's gonna hurt so bad.
Yeah, because that's the only one I have. I don't have it at 3rd level. Yeah, that is 43.
Let's go. Are you putting any of your spirit power into this too?
Please remind me how when I can use those.
You can use them whenever you want. You can use them to heal. You can use them to also do damage. But you will sacrifice some of your spiritual essence. So you can choose to, let's say, put 5 points of spirit into it, but that will come out of your spirit hit points. You are fine as long as your spirit hit points don't drop to 0. If they drop to 0, you die. And not unrevivifiable, but it's going to require a much different ceremony to come back. Because this is essentially your spirit shattering.
Mm-hmm. How could I regain those points?
You do something every single day that brings you joy. So, like, for Fair's character, Deodora, she plays typically with Sparky, etc. So, yeah.
That is stargazing for Ostani. So they will definitely put in... Let's put in a good 10. They have, what do I have, 85? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you rolled pretty well for yours. So, yeah, you can easily put that. All right. So, what is the total damage for that then?
The total damage is, I'm trying to find my sheet. 43 plus, 10, 53.
Ooh! Okay. So... we have a special phrase that we like to use here in Ampistrano. As many tales are woven and made, how do you unmake this creature?
What? Okay. There is the moment that they felt that fear, that unnerving sense of like instability in oneself and what they can do, and in the limited time that we have on this plane of their purpose, and that hole that they felt like they were in, that they cannot climb in, and they cannot go closer to that fear because she is afraid of it, and they had done that to them. The blight that comes out, because I believe it is necrotic damage, it is that like ripples of, fine, if I'm to be afraid of you, then I will hate you more. Like it is rage and spite against something that is supposed to keep you down, and what made her realize like maybe healing is not her service to this plane, but guiding souls to their end. And it was a hard journey, and it came out of spite, but it did still come, and that is the like ripples of black necrotic damage that is going out from them, like the script that's on her face, as if ink is like diluted by water.
I love it.
Pouring down, and now she doesn't have it on her face, coming down and shooting straight at them. I feel like it almost like erodes them, like bubbling, bubbling diluted paint and watercolor.
As that happens, the circle that is now beneath Keeper Reyna lights up even further as everything kind of connects, and the whole chamber is full of white hot light as this thing is not just incinerated, but you can see as it's pulled back into that veil as Keeper Reyna floats down as she does. You noticed one thing just before this creature disappeared, and it looked like it had been just about to attack Keeper Reyna. But she was well enough aware that Daria was not on her left, that she was able to just hold her hand up as one of her spiritual guardians held the claw that was about to hit her as that dissipated. We are out of initiative. There is a quiet in the space as everyone slowly comes back. You can still hear the fledglings. Some of them are like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and oh my gosh, this is so scary. Like a mix of that kind of festering through. Mm-hmm. You can see several of the wanderers, watchers rather, kind of dusting themselves off, looking relieved but also alarmed at what just happened.
Yeah.
The thread of that veil is solid again. Gold. You can see steady flowing lights around it, just as it was before this happened. And you see Keeper Reyna looking, several different emotions crossing her face in this moment. As you see coming up the stairs from the lower regions is Watcher Daria.
Mm-hmm. First, when everything dies down, Ostani does the same, like 2 fingers to the river that's coming down, like all like forward, and will release the 20 like temporary hit points that they had that is necrotic, and like back. Like thank you to whoever that's given that to her for a moment, and like back to their grave, back to rest. To the fledglings, they're like, hide your eyes, or if you are brave, look, and kind of like ushering them. And when they get closer to Reyna, they're just going to do a simple look, like a look between people who have worked together for a long time and kind of are friends of like, what was that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There are kids around, so I can't say it out loud.
She clocks it, though. She knows. She's picked up. She knows you well enough since she saw you when you first started your journey here, to where you are now. And she kind of gives like a nod of approval and steps forward and very in a big show for what this symbolizes, puts her right hand on your right shoulder and kind of nods her head before handing you the glade to usher in the dawn, as the dawn ceremony still needs to happen, if at all more needed, to make sure that the bond holding the veil, much like her own door, slightly ajar, stays. That is not shut. As she approaches, though, and kind of does that, she leans her head forward as she kind of bows, and we will talk later.
We will. And the same whisper. And they will aid in that to keep it ajar, but they are going to make that stopper in that doorway strong with the rest of the watchers. So instead of a song that is like a small little hum that wakes you up, it is like that choir of like, oh, like outward. And as everyone joins in that pitch, like just restoring that strength, so that if it needs to be protected, it will. Finally looking back at Reyna with just the weariness, they're without the temporary hit points are still at like they're kind of hurting. We will talk later, but I'm going to bed.
She nods. Well, to bed and then your meeting. Good luck ahead, Watcher. And at this point, you kind of see she has turned her very gentle, serene eyes from you to, if looks could pin a person against a wall, her eyes shift to Daria. And there's a coldness. You feel it. She's not even looking at you, but you feel it.
Yeah, Ostani had for sure had like a shiver just.
And you see, without even words, she looks at Daria and then eyes the staircase to go down. Nods at everybody as she goes, and she descends. Daria in her wake, because maybe it's a moment of pettiness. She lets herself go first.
Mm-hmm. In a show of, you know, if we're awake now, I could get rest later. They're going to kick up their back legs again to clip the mace back. And with a good gallop, they're going to actually, with that stare and that, it feels like things are happening. They're actually going to go to the commander's office. And they're going to crash afterwards.
You head down the tiled steps of the temple. And as you step outside, you see the other temples, as now everybody is starting to, like, much in the opposite effect of your temple is getting ready to go to sleep for a little bit. Everybody else is starting to come alive. Indeed, the sun has shifted to a different pantheon. And so you see in the distance, you have the perfect view of the farming district across from the city of Jorix. And you can see already, even though it's a speck on the horizon, several carts of farmers beginning their day. You can see the merchants starting to mill about. The city is starting to come alive. City's awakened. Whatever just happened in that temple seems to have just been isolated within there. And as you walk down those steps and head towards where Commander Tynil is, which is near the Erudite district, that is where we're going to end our tale for today. Yay!
Yay! That was awesome.
Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you too. I saw we got a raid. If you stuck around for that, thank you so much. This has been an absolute blast, and I'm so happy to be back. Mots, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for your patience while I was dealing with some technical difficulties today. If we don't have some technical difficulties, we're not gonna have a good show.
Agreed.
That's just the way it is. So yeah, Mots will be back with us on the 27th for season 4 premiere. But between now and then, why don't you shout out all the wonderful things that you are doing? Because you're doing so much. That's
a great idea. I need to bring up my calendar because that is y'all, tomorrow I'll be back on Defenders of Foundelver, our season 2. We had an incredible, heartbreaking episode of Navarra last week. Definitely cried this week, babe, because of that. And in that, what is the word where you are feeling those emotions through this, but it's like euphoric? No, it's not it. It's a it's great to feel those heavy emotions in a campaign like this because it is horror. So please, if you are not into body horror and any kind of those things, like, please take care of yourselves, because we are playing through a module, but through the wonderful GM that wants to haunt our days with horror and create incredible stories. It's more than just a module. So definitely come through and help us. It's going to be on twitch.tv Forgotten Adventures. And yeah, we're in town. We're doing a couple therapy episodes because we need it. Okay, we definitely need it. From what else I could see in the upcoming week, our finale for our penultimate adventure before the last one of our campaign will be on Catchy Cantrips on Tuesday. These are my only big campaigns that I'm on, like big D&D campaigns. And you all, if you know me, I choose them very rarely because campaigns are hard to stay on, and I really have to connect with whoever is running with it to really be part of it. And Catchy Cantrips is my home, and like it's a wild journey. So to possibly say goodbye to this character for one more like last adventure is crazy. So Tuesday, twitch.tv/Catchy Cantrips. I will cry. Yeah, I think that's it until I return home. So if you follow me everywhere, it's Mozzarella. I usually post a story on it or threads and other cool things. So yeah.
Plus your work with Starcrawl too.
Yes.
That's why
we're
friends.
AP
I got
channel.
you.
Yeah, thank you. They had the Between series happening today. So if you want to catch up on everything, it's on our YouTube. And we will have upcoming games of Candela, let's see, Monster Hearts, I believe, and the One Ring, campaign of the One Ring happening, which I'm excited of because I have not watched my yearly tradition of all the movies.
Oh yeah.
And a whole mess of incredible 2-player games that are recording right now and getting edited, which is amazing. The amount of indie TTRPGs that I didn't know there were, and Starcrawl is like finding, I'm so excited about. So drop a follow to Starcrawl RPG and check them out. There are games that I'm not even like producing or doing. Like what? Like who thought that would happen where I just like let this go eventually? But what I love is that more stories are getting told and I don't need to be part of it, and it's happening. So I'm excited. That's why I keep forgetting to shout it out, because it feels like more of a community thing now, which is great.
I love that. Incredible. If you want to catch more of us, we will be back here. And by we, I mean me, because like I said, Mats will be back on the 27th. We will be back here next week at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, for the recorded episode of Sin and I as we go through their one-shot interlude. And then we actually have who we're going to be raiding into next will be the week after that with Fair. So y'all, we're back in the Vale and it feels so good.
I'm so excited.
It feels so good to be back. So thank you all so much for hanging out today. Hang on tight, because we're going to go spread some love to the wonderful Fair, who is playing some Expedition 33. So if you are following the channel and have our lovely little emotes, you can go ahead and use our raid call 1. If not, you can use our raid call 2 to use the universal emotes, and we're going to head over to Fair. But from all of us here to all of you, have an incredible week, and may the Veil guide you. Bye, everybody!